and we know that he's one of our pride as South Africa, when it comes to the music fraternity. I just want to take this time and say hi, Doc, and how are we doing?
Good evening, Pastor Strike. I'm doing very well, thank you. And I hope you are well as well.
We're doing very well, Doc, and we're so excited to have you on this short interview. And we just want to hit the ground running. Let's start from the beginning. There is a school of thought, Doc, that says all music, and here we talk of pop, soul, jazz, etc., has its origin in choral music. In other words, choral music is the mother of all music. How true is this school of thought, Doc?
It is correct. The singing or the human voice is the most natural of all instruments. Quite interestingly, a human voice is classified as an instrument in music circles, and and before instruments were made, people had already started singing. So yes, the voice is the oldest instrument, and the oldest means of making music all over the world before lutes and harps and everything were developed was the human voice. So people met and sang together, and that's how it developed into becoming, also cementing it as the most important instrument, so to say.
Thanks so very much, Doc. Now let's come to Giyani Philharmonic Choir. Choir leyi ya Giyani Philharmonic Choir leyi nga yele kaya. A Giyani malembe yo tala for many decades celebrated choral music, and we had heard several choral music formations. So what is special and different about the Giyani Philharmonic Choir? Swihlawulekisi naswona swa nkoka swinene hi Giyani Philharmonic Choir xana.
So the idea is like this. It's like this. Of course, there have been other choirs before. There have been smaller groups. There have been huge groups, much bigger than what we have started as a Giyani Philharmonic Choir. The difference is that this choir does not enter choir competitions. It is not a choir for competitions. It is a choir that is formed specifically to sing South African art music, which means it's what we call choral music as well. So music that is composed by South African composers. So we would like to do contemporary music. That is our base. And then secondly, we are going to be doing the what we call normal standard repertoire from the Western classical canon. So the idea is to develop this choir into becoming an important ensemble in the area, that we can sing all sorts of, we can sing Beethoven, we can sing Bach, Handel, all the standard Western classical music repertoire. And then at the same time, sing our own music of our own composers. I mean, we are the best custodians of our language, of Xitsonga. So we would like to do music of Xitsonga composers in our languages. The music of S.J. Khosa, D.C. Marivate, N.L.J. Nkuna, E.P. Maswanganyi, R.S. Mchetweni, D.D. Malungani, J.S. Hlekani, B.B. Shlubani. The list is long, of Mr. Mangena, the late Mr. Mangena. There are lots of composers whose music is not usually performed because there are no platforms for them, for this sort of music. So that is the idea. That is the core idea of starting this Giyani Philharmonic Choir. And of course, there have been very good choirs before, like you remember the Giyani Adult Choir, Lamino Voices, but those choirs were mainly taking part in singing competitions, and we are not going to do that. We're a community choir, a choir that sings for community events, a choir that anyone can join, anyone who's interested in singing, with a bit of knowledge of singing, when they have experience of singing in a choir, always helps. And but we really work very hard. So we have a proper vocal training. So I come from time to time and work with the choir, but there is a trainer who's working with them, Emmanuel Potejo Masina Mela, who is a very, very good musician who works with them, trains the choir quite regularly. Yeah, so that is the core of what we are doing.
Wow, that's beautiful. Yeah, I mean, lembe namasikiaba kindlimuka, you know, and we would really love to see Giyani alive again when it comes to choral music. And who is eligible to join this choir? Are there any specific criteria that one must satisfy to join the choir?
The most important one is enthusiasm. One has to be really you must have a lot of energy and be really enthusiastic to sing in a choir. That's the first thing. And then secondly, maybe it's the other way around also, I don't know. It depends how one looks at it. One has to have some voice to be able to sing.
Yes.
So, yes, there has to be that as well. Obviously, with the socio-economic problems we don't have trained singers in the area, so we do the training in the choir and within the choir. We have people that are capable. I also work with the choir, sometimes online, but sometimes live, and also with them. We get pianists. I mean, we had Juan Beggars coming from Cape Town on 2 or 3 occasions to come during weekends and train the choir. So we really work on the voices. So it must be people with a lot of energy, with people who want to sing, people who are interested in discovering something new, because we don't only sing folk songs, but we do a little bit more advanced music. So it's people that really want to learn something new.
Wow, that's beautiful, Doc. And let's talk about the group dynamics. Navigating large numbers of different types of people must be daunting. What are the challenges in making all these people become one solid unit? As a Giyani Philharmonic Choir, it's one solid unit. What are the challenges of really getting that done?
Look, in every group of people, you will always have one or two that don't really fit into the group. When we started this choir, it was larger than it is now. It is now sitting at about 40. I think we were 45, 46 at the time. People have realized that they don't really belong in the group, because it's, there's a lot of work, and then it's not easy dealing with people. But all in all, we share a common vision. We share a common vision, that of making music and of making music together. The harmony of music. So there is a lot of harmony. There are no big problems per se. One cannot say, well, we have 1 or 2 people that come late, but we we do try to encourage people to come on time, so we don't delay. We don't delay rehearsals. We don't delay progress. That is the only issue that we have. But of course, because it's a non-professional choir, people have to work and earn money. So it's normal. It's inevitable that you'll have 1 or 2 people that come late after work.
Yes.
But generally, in terms of a group of people that share a same vision, we have no problem with that, and it's going very, very well. It's a very good choir, I must say. I mean, not because I belong to the choir or because it is my idea, but I think it is it's an excellent ensemble. It's an excellent ensemble of musicians that really want to work together, that want to sing. A lot of them have sung together in other choirs before, either at school or in other community choirs or in church choirs. So it's people that know each other. I personally know at least half the choir from my youth when I was growing up in Giyani. So it's people I know quite well. Yeah.
Lovely. Other forms of music like pop, R&B, jazz, even gospel evolve all the time. In other words, there is room for innovation in such genres of music, which results in constant evolution of such types of music. What about choral music? Has it also evolved over time?
Oh yes, it has evolved. Unfortunately, this is a bit of a political issue. We live in parallel worlds. South Africa is a parallel, it's a country of, we live in parallel worlds. So what happens in this way, this is what I mean. In most Black communities, music has not developed since it was introduced by missionaries in the 1800s, in the 1850s. So what happens is the style of composition of composing, the style of composition is still 19th century harmony. The way like the way the hymns have been written, do mi so ti re fa, the combination of these harmonies. That's what we still use. But if you think 200 years later, there has been a lot of development in everything that we do and what we have in the world, including choral music. When you go to places where there has been a further development, I mean, it went through from the Romantic to the late Romantic to the early 20th century, now 20th, 21st century, and then we have what we call modern music or contemporary music, which is much more complicated than the way we know our hymns. Of course, hymns are easy to sing. They are composed, with easy harmonies, for untrained people, for anybody who goes to church to be able to sing. But when it comes to choral music, where you have a group of people that sing together, one could do some music that is a little bit more advanced. So to answer your question, yes, there has been a lot of advancement. I mean, there is a wide repertoire of choral music, of modern composers, or even early 20th century music that is really, really developed. I mean, if you think of music of Benjamin Britten, you think of Strauss, Richard Strauss, think of Mahler. I mean, these are all very already becoming complex. And then when we look today, there's even, I mean, I can't think of composers now, but I mean, there is a lot of music with a lot of complexities. Yeah. So there has been a development. Yes.
Thanks, Doc. And Doc, can you share with us some of the plans in relation to this choir, the Giyani Philharmonic Choir, short term and long term?
Well, we have quite a few projects before us. We plan 3 to 4 concerts. Basically, 3 core concerts like we're going to have now. Our inaugural concert which will be Easter on the 12th of April. And then we are going to have in between, in the month of May, we're going to do one of my works. It's the first time it will be performed in South Africa, my Mass for Justice, which we are going to do in Johannesburg, together with, because I also teach now here at Wits, so that's why I'm in and out of the country. I teach at Wits. Yes. I am responsible for their department, and I have started a choir there. I like starting choirs and starting these sorts of projects. So the 2 choirs will join hands and sing my Mass of Justice on the 25th of May this year at the Linda Auditorium as part of the Africa Day celebrations. We expect quite a huge audience, and I'm sure it's going to be quite an interesting event. Then we are planning with this choir for the month of September, the 20th of September, we are going to have a heritage concert because it's Heritage Month. Heritage in the sense that we're going to perform music by our own composers. We have chosen very interesting repertoire from 15 different composers, and we're going to be performing their music. And then the last one we plan for the year is a Christmas concert, which we will also do in Giyani. So basically in Giyani, we will do 3 concerts a year, and then we are planning a European tour for the last half of the year, or the last quarter of the year, to have some performances in Germany and the Netherlands. There we are going to be doing my Mass for Justice for soloists, choir, and orchestra. And of course, we're already starting to plan for next year. So all sorts of projects. We haven't finalized yet what our repertoire is going to be, but we promise that we are going to do our best to give people what they would like to hear and what we think is also good for the people to hear.
Wow, Doc, thank you so very much, because, with the fact that you're coming from Guyana and you're coming from South Africa and also lecturing in one of our universities, and the projects that you are doing. Honestly speaking, Lokobaku Charity Begins at Home, you are doing as good. We really appreciate that. And let's talk a little bit more about the inaugural concert. What are the details, and are there entry fees? What and where is it going to be held? Can we share a little bit? I want to believe the audience would love to know, because believe you me, we are thirsty and hungry for choral music.
I'm glad that people are thirsty and hungry and people would like to come. I've had a few inquiries concerning this concert. It's a free concert, which means anyone is allowed, anyone is invited. There's no entry fee. We're going to do it at the Giyani East Evangelical Presbyterian Church Hall, which is near the tennis courts in Giyani, the old original church. I think it's one of the oldest churches. Yes, that's where we're doing it. We're going to do one complete work by Dr. Leslie Joseph Nkuna, who my father. He wrote almost 10 years ago a work called The Crucifixion, which is about the crucifixion, the last 7 words of Jesus Christ on the cross. And this work, firstly, it's very interesting. Maybe I should tell this story quickly. I was in Prague. My parents had visited us in Germany for a holiday, and then we took them to Prague in the Czech Republic, where we visited, and we went to the museum, actually a house where Mozart lived when he lived in Prague, and it was quite interesting. I could see there was something happening in my father's mind. He was thinking quite a lot. I didn't ask him at the time what he was thinking about, and then 3 or 4 days later, we went in Vienna, where we visited also the Mozart house in Vienna. And it was after visiting this house that he said, I am going to write a complete oratorio, which means this oratorio that was going to sing now is the first complete Tsonga oratorio written by a Tsonga composer. So this is already a very achievement for someone his age, for someone that comes from that sort of background, not necessarily classically trained, but coming from a choral music background. So that is one part of the program. We're going to do it with piano, accompanied on the piano by Johnny Manamela, who's one of the best pianists we have around. He plays a lot in a lot of concerts, etc. And we have a group of soloists that are also drawn out from the choir. So this choir is made up of people who can sing. We don't need to get soloists from outside of the choir, but we are able to get soloists within the choir, because there is a lot of talent in the choir and they have lots of capabilities. And we will also sing some hymns from the Buku ya Tinsimu, which I have arranged for choir and piano. It's going to be a very interesting concert. And also what we have decided to do with this concert is that we're going to use this time to remember and honor those musicians that have contributed to the development and advancement of music and classical music, especially choral music in Giyani. So as we celebrate Easter, we're also going to honor those who have spent their lives uplifting our community through music. So it will be past and present composers who dedicated their gifts to preserving our culture, nurturing our children, and lifting our spirits in times of both sorrow and joy. If we can, I normally call them ministers of memory, because they remind us. They make sure that our stories are never forgotten, and that our songs are never silenced, and that our young people know who they are, come from. And it's very important, doing this kind of thing, because you must remember that in African tradition, music is not a luxury, but a necessity. In the way we worship, the way we mourn, the way we celebrate, the way we learn, the way we teach. Actually, music to us is the Bible in sound. The Bible is a sacred instrument of heritage and hope. So this is what we see as a bigger picture of what this Giyani Philharmonic Choir wants to do, and what we are going to do at our concert now. For this concert, we are going to appreciate and honor 4 musicians that have unfortunately left us, but they played a very big role in the development of music in our area and in South Africa in general. The late Mr. R. Chetweni, Dr. S.J. Kosa, Mr. B.J. Shengane, and then we have and then Mr. J.C.J. Mavikana, abamusumi wa tinsimu. Nkarhi hinkwayo loko ku ri na kereke ku va na minkosi hinkwaswo so the events or the occasion teti ku yimbeleriwaka tinsimu ta kereke a ku va ku ri vona musumi voice ya vona swinene. And then hi tlhela hi va na Mr. M.J. Mapope lava ku nga vona va nga tisa classical music ka Giyani. This is interesting because that's where I also discovered my talent under music. Hi ta tlhela hi honora na ku appreciate Mr. N.L.J. Nkuna for his contribution also as a composer, and as a young man he was a conductor that used to conduct primary school and went and won up to national level. Hi tlhela he appreciated na ku honora Mr. E.P. Maswanganyi, Mr. Maswanganyi but some D1 section for all that he has done for choral music at Giyani as a composer. So all in all, that's a roundup of what we are going to. But the most important thing also is to realize that this will be our very first concert in public. So there is a lot of excitement within the choir. We are really, really looking forward to showing our community what we have been rehearsing for the past year. This choir is already a year old, so they have been rehearsing for at least 1 year now. So I'm sure you'll be able to see the results. Yes, it took a long time with all these rehearsals because we're trying to find voices together to train so that people are really empowered. It's not just a matter of memorizing, but to actually know how to produce a voice, how to do this, how to hit a high note, how to blend together. All these nitty-gritties we've been working on for the past year. So we are really, really excited and looking forward to having our audiences there.
Doc, I think we're more excited because this is really amazing, and I trust that it will take our community and even our nation to higher heights, because I'm excited to hear that there are musical contributors, composers who are going to be honored posthumously, because that is one thing that honestly, we have unsung heroes and heroines who have been at the forefront of building our nation in different sectors. And we really honor and appreciate Giyani Philharmonic Choir for making sure that you honor such. And that really is going to be wonderful. But now, let's also talk about the recent tour. You took Malamlele Community Choir to Europe to a series of performances. How were they received by the European audience? Can we talk a little bit about that?
Yes, that was a very interesting time. Well, this was it's already the 3rd year now. It's 2.5 years ago. They came to they sang the world premiere of my Requiem of Hope. And it's called the of Hope and Reconciliation, something like that. For soloists, choir and orchestra. They were accompanied by the Neue Philharmonic Kassel, which is an orchestra which I put together and I formed in Kassel. It was very interesting. We had 3 beautiful concerts. That's the first program I've given you, is what they first sang on the first day. On the second day, they sang works by South African composers, mainly Xitsonga composers. And then on the 3rd day, we did African traditional songs. It was beautiful. It was beautifully received. What's interesting is that our people have very beautiful voices. Some have raw, untrained voices. Sounds really so beautiful, and when people start singing together, there is a lot of harmony. The choir was well received. Some people had never seen, some Europeans had never seen such a large number of Africans singing together, and not singing African traditional music only, but also singing music with orchestra and so on, doing an oratorio with orchestra. So it was quite interesting. It was interesting for the choir as well. As well as for the audience as well. For the choir, it was interesting to take part in such an event, or at such events outside of home, outside of our comfort zone, singing in places where they don't know us. They are going to hear us for the first time, and were well received. It was beautiful. That's why now I have this idea of going to the same place with a different choir. The reception was so beautiful, and they would like to hear more. That's the reason we keep doing this kind of thing. And these sorts of cultural exchanges are very important for relations between nations. And it's also important for us, especially as South Africans, to show what we can do. That there are lots of positives in the country that we can also show and exhibit to the world. Not only sport, and not only the load shedding or load reduction, but also music. We have a lot of composers here. We have lots of great singers. A lot of today we have many singers that come from South Africa, singers that come from here that are having great international careers. So it's the world is open now to everybody. We have all these possibilities, and then we make use of these opportunities, to go as far as we can and to do as much as we can, to serve also the music, our culture, and our heritage.
Lovely. To my dear listeners, we're talking to Dr. Musa Nkuna, and he is the founder of the Giyani Philharmonic Choir. And a concert is upcoming on the 12th of April. And they will be doing the crucifixion by our own daughter, Leslie Nkuna. This is wonderful. And I've had an opportunity of listening to the crucifixion. It's amazing. It's powerful. But far and above that, my dear listeners, is the honoring of those who contribute in the choral music. And I can see Giyani coming alive again. And of course, we take pride that it is happening in Giyani, but we take this time to invite everybody from anywhere, because like Doctor said, that admission is free. You are welcome, and let's come and have fun. Let's come and enjoy music. And I know you'll never regret. But Doc, when we zoom into your life specifically, you seem to be having this deep appetite for studying. You're studying nonstop, hence you also you are also a doctor of music. How important is continuous education in the area of music? Because people think it's only talent, it's only a voice, but there is studying. How important it is to study?
Studying is very important. I mean, one of the best ways of gaining knowledge is through reading, is through studying. I mean, like studying seriously, not only in music, but in any field. Every single day, there are new developments in medicine, also in law. There are new laws in science. There are new discoveries in engineering. There are new techniques in everything that we do. And the same applies to music. So the more the more you discover new things. There are several ways of studying music. There are ways where you study, for instance, for me as a singer, I still go to a singing teacher. I still work with a singing teacher, and I work with a pianist. So it never stops. It never stops. It's just like in most fields, like you have in football or in rugby or in tennis, Roger Federer, I mean, until he went to retirement, he still worked with a coach, footballer coaches. So even for music, it's the same. We do the same. You have to continue studying to gain more knowledge. And it's interesting because there are new singing techniques that are being discovered that are very helpful, to help one sort out a note or two when it becomes difficult. Even in medicine, when you think about it, I mean, think of doctors or medical practitioners that qualified, let's say in 1990, which is not a long time ago. They obviously they have to also keep studying in order to keep up. I mean, there was a pandemic not so long ago, 5 years ago. So everyone had to understand how to deal with this coronavirus because it was not studied 10 years ago. So in everything that we do, we have to study and make sure that we are up to date. Yeah, so that's why I continue studying. But I don't only study music, I study all sorts of things. Also, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, Doc, we just want to take this time and say thank you so very much. But before we let you go, you just arrived this afternoon, and thank you so very much for giving us this interview. But what is it that you love to say just from your heart? Which question was, what is it that is burning in your heart and you wish we could have asked you to share about it?
Well, I would have maybe wanted to say, how big would you like Giyani Philharmonic Choir to be? Big in terms of numbers. So what we
try and get in. It seems we lost Doc, but let me see if he will be joining us again, because that is very much important. The question he was wishing we could have asked: how big does he want Giyani Philharmonic Choir to be? That's very important. And also, is it only elderly people? Is it also bringing the youth? What is the age group, cutting across which age group? I think that's beautiful, and I would love to say ekabanu bakai na eGiyani leswaku ayeneni ya tiphina ayeneni ya tlangela empfuxelelo wa vuyimbeleri bya choral na mpfuxelelo wa vuyimbeleri lebyi na ndhaka ya vuyimbeleri lebyi, the legacy of our forebears when it comes to choral music. You'll agree with me. We've heard and we continue to have great people in choral music. And Magaliwani Makakate, ilava kuhoyezela Dr. Musa Nkuda loko babena miehleketo nimbilu ya ku vuya ekaya va ta sungula ntirho wa ku fanelo. A hi ta lava ku twa leswaku va langutise ku ri i vanhu vahi lava va nga kumbe i number ya vanhu vangani lava nga va ka va endla yona Giyani Philharmonic Choir. Mina ni ta lava na ku twa leswaku xana yi na age limit xana kumbe ku na yini loko swi te tano. Mo ni vona ku ri right, mo ni twa swa ku va ri yini laha, my phone switched off. Okay, no, it's swa twakala. Let me see. Are we able to take him on the phone? Can you connect my phone? Let me see if we can be able to. Oh, my phone is a C-type name. Oh, you will. Okay, thank you so very much. Let's try and finish it nicely. Thanks very much, Doc. My dear wonderful listeners, yes, good enough. We got Dr. Musa back because he was cut. Let's see him joining in again and be able to finish our talk. But thank you so very much. Thank you for watching on YouTube and also for watching on Facebook and, of course, on Bold Moves Radio. Dr. Musa is back with us. Doc, you said you wished I could have asked how big do you want to see Giyani Philharmonic Choir growing to? And I would also add, age group, do we expect also the youth, or is there an age limit? whether at what age to join the choir, at what age to retire from the choir.
Yeah,
I'm thinking now
excellent.
I'm thinking of the Mormon Tabernacle Choir now, with so massive choristers.
Yeah, you see, there is no cut-off age, which means if we grow the number to 100, 220, that would be amazing, because then there is so much work. There is so much work to do. I'll tell you, my biggest dream is to make recordings of we have so many composers who, if we don't do something about this, then
sure. Is it our network? Okay. Oh, we're sorry again. We lost Dr. Musa. He was still coming very well, talking about, there's a lot of music that was written and it's not recorded. That's a fact. The DC Marivati types of music, all those legends. We really need that music, well recorded, done by very competent, reputable choirs. So that's a very important point. But let's see if we're able to get him back again to finish that with us. But I want to say I love choral music also, because it's the music that is able, or that has survived the test of time, the mother of all genres of music. And they all started from choral because, the human voice is the oldest and the most powerful instrument that has ever been created, and is created by God. And those a cappella type of singers who will also make sounds with their own voices, make sounds until you think there is an instrument that is playing here. So that's so beautiful. That's so amazing. And let me see if we can get Dr. Musa back before we retire today, and see if we're winning. But thank you so very much, my dear viewers and listeners, for being with us. It has been a wonderful time talking to Dr. Nkuna. I love this man and his love and energy on music, and breaking through ethnic boundaries, through national boundaries, and teaching music in Germany, and now in South Africa. We're just excited. We're just so grateful to have a man like him. Oh, lovely. Let me see if I'm winning, if I'm not winning. But I think you've heard him saying is his desire to have it growing, and you can imagine the day it's going to have over 120 choristers of voices, like rushing of the water gushing, voices, harmony of voices flowing like a river. So we just want to say to all of you friends, thank you so very much. Thank you for coming through. Thank you for being with us. And let us all head to Giyani, and it's Giyani East Evangelical Presbyterian Church, the old Evangelical Presbyterian Church in Giyani. Let's be there. Let's enjoy the day with Giyani Philharmonic Choir, and of course the honoring of the legends. And Bold Moves Radio also will be there. We'll be broadcasting live from Giyani Evangelical Presbyterian East, the East Parish. And thank you so very much, family. I really appreciate your time, and I really appreciate you being part of this wonderful